Hey, Prime members, you can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Download the app today.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Everybody, and welcome to Crime and Sports. Thank you so much for joining us, as always. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
And we couldn't be happier to join you.
We are back.
We are back,
so
as
good.
Always. You can't get rid of us.
I love when we start these. It always cracks me
communicable
up.
disease that just keeps attacking and attacking the system. Want to start out by thanking everyone for their iTunes reviews and everything like that. Please, guys, we beg of you, get on iTunes. Just 5 stars, say something, you're following instructions like we've talked about. Just do something. It helps us so much. Takes so little. And we put so much time into this. So please just help us out.
People that do it make me feel so good.
It's the best. And we appreciate it. And it really helps out in the iTunes charts and everything else. Also, the Patreon page, patreon.com/crimeandsports. If you want to throw us a few bucks, there's some rewards in there. But
there you go.
You can do that if you want. But iTunes reviews are free. So please hit us up there.
We love those.
We would also like to just thank some of our listeners that we always talk to, communicate with. Mark Busby there in Australia has been sending us some funny stuff.
Awesome.
And we love that guy. And good God, Jay Wedbetter. The
guy's a lunatic, and I love it.
We love Jay Wedbetter. This guy, I mean, calls up, tweets at radio shows, tries to get us.
He's our Captain Jenks. Captain Jenks is on the Howard Stern Show. He's our guy.
He waited on hold for a show for us for like a long time to
and he
plug
talked about us, looking at the screen thing.
It's amazing.
He talked about us for 3 minutes on a nationally syndicated, or now it used to be nationally syndicated. Now it's on the internet. But whatever, it's a huge guy. It's a huge show.
It's Anthony Cumia show. I don't know why we're not saying the name of the show.
He who we do not mention his name. But the guy's great, and the guy's huge.
And so we couldn't.
So Wedbetter, Jason, you're a fucking mensch.
You guys like that are just the best. And like we've said before, we're comics. We're not journalists. We don't have a big network.
Right.
This has spread like a wildfire, just like slowly and surely, and
it's like a cigarette wildfire where somebody threw one out the window.
Yeah,
that's us.
It started with embers,
and then all those little twigs of Wedbetter and Busby and.
I'm telling you guys,
there's a lady on fucking Facebook that can't get enough of us either.
So
forget her name.
Anyway.
So
we just
sweet.
Thank you guys so much. We can't get enough of it, and let's get into crime and sports.
Let's do that
for the week. First of all, we got to address. I know everybody's addressed it, and we've heard an ass full of it, but this Brock Turner asshole.
I can't wait for
the
that
Stanford swimming guy. I mean,
fuck, that's going to be fun.
I know everyone else has weighed in, but this is kind of our thing, so we should really weigh in on this. This is kind of our deal here, our niche. So this guy, let's just say this. First of all, I hope he ends up in a cell with nothing but Tom Paine and a dish towel, like we tweeted out, because that's what I said. And also, when he gets out, I hope someday, maybe online somewhere, he finds love with Sally McNeil. That's what I hope. Episode 7 or 8, one of those. And then he could try to rape her, and she can throw a 70-pound barbell off the second deck on him and shoot him twice
as she's shooting him out the window like Skeet.
Beautiful. When he has half a pound.
And then on top of that, I hope for as a father, you're father of a daughter too.
Yeah.
I hope that dad who wrote that open letter really regrets what he wrote. I get that he's pleading for leniency for his son, and he's really hoping that his son
is first in line, kicking his son in the ass.
That guy's a fucking asshole.
Yeah. No,
if his boy rapes my daughter, I'm kicking his ass.
Yeah, that's the thing.
The legal system will take care of Brock. I'm going to fuck that dad up. Then my son's going to kick his ass, and then my dad's going to kick his ass.
That's the way it should work instead of writing open letters.
Jana Marie Wells. That was the lady I wanted to say.
Yeah,
I love you,
her.
lady.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You rule
Go
too.
on.
Thank you, guys, all of you. Let's get into our scumbag
Here we
week
go.
here. Wow, Jimmie Whisman. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Every time, this is one of those stories that I looked at in the beginning when we first started this, and I wanted to do, and then I started to get into a little. I was like, whoa, I'm not ready for that yet. Like, the level of research that needs to go into this, I'm not up to that yet. I got to start out with, like, a Ray Carruth that had one thing that he did, and I could focus on that.
There's a legit novel in front of you right now.
Now, I killed...
2 of them.
I killed 3 pens.
Yeah.
I'm not even shitting you. This is insanity.
It's seriously index cards. There's big ones and little ones. The little ones are sporadically through the big ones. And it is it's an inch and a half thick. It's huge.
It's ridiculous.
So strap in because this is going to be a good one.
I'm telling you guys, this is the deepest we've ever gone in anything because we just had to.
Yeah.
It was that much, and this guy's such an asshole. My goodness, it's Art Schlichter. Now, it looks like Schlichter.
Right.
So if you've seen that name, Schlichter, he's often in the top 5 NFL draft bust lists.
All right.
He is Ryan Leaf before Ryan Leaf, but with gambling instead of drugs, basically. That's what we have here.
I love it.
Pure just shittiness, thievery, scum. He's just the most deceptive.
Yeah.
A prosecutor later on calls him the best con man I've ever seen in my life. Like an experienced 20-year prosecutor. He's Arthur Ernest Schlichter. He is born April 25th, 1960 in Washington Courthouse, Ohio.
4 days before my mom.
And an appropriate place of birth, Washington Courthouse, because he will be spending much time
there.
much time in courthouses. His parents are Max and Mila, and they're going to come up a lot because his father is extremely overbearing.
Yeah.
His father dominates every aspect of his life, and his mother's kind of the doting, oh my boy, you know, it's so it's a really stereotypical parents, and they create a fucking disaster of a human being.
Fucking sociopath of a white man.
It's a bad combination.
Schlichter, is that German?
Schlichter, I have no idea if he's German, if he's Jewish.
That sure sounds German.
His future wife's name is Mitzi, which is a pretty Jewish. I don't know what's going on here. He's one of some. I don't really give a shit, honestly.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
He's a great athlete and a complete asshole is the main.
Perfect.
We've got into.
He lines right up here.
Yeah, he stays in Ohio, goes to Miami Trace High School. Grows up to be a big kid, 6'3", 210.
What state is this?
Ohio.
Okay.
Miami, Ohio. Miami Trace High School. It's a small little area, little rural area. He is a god there. He is an athletic god.
How big is he?
6'3", 210.
Jesus.
And this is in the 70s.
Yeah.
So this is a big kid.
Yeah.
He's
Big
got a good
farm
arm.
boy.
Real confident guy. Everyone that encounters him says he's the best talker you've ever met. He could sell ice to an Eskimo. He's one of these guys. You know what I mean? He's ridiculous. His father was so overbearing, right? His friend of his, an old friend, said, quote, if Art had a question, his father would tell him what to do. He dictated every move. It made him an emotional cripple.
Yeesh.
That's what we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
And it's bad. When he was at college, sometimes he would call his father 6 times a day, which people found odd. You know,
that's weird.
That's aberrant behavior.
Yeah,
you call your dad. It's like, I don't know what to have for lunch, Dad.
6 times in a day.
Hamburger or grilled cheese.
I don't talk to my mom 6 times in a month.
No, God, no.
Jesus.
I don't know. Oof, man.
What do you do? What do you need
like I said,
to
it literally has to be like, what do I eat for dinner, Dad? Like, what do I do?
Dad, how do I get out of this bedroom?
Yeah.
The door is shut.
I need directions to the gas station.
Right. I need directions to my toothbrush, Dad.
Dad, do I do up and down with the toothbrush or side to side?
Which do you think gets more food out? What the fuck?
Do you have a plaque method?
Dad, I started the car. Everything's fine. What are you calling me for? I just wanted to call you.
I just
missed you.
I hear your voice.
I haven't talked to you since I brushed my teeth.
I want to hear your voice, man.
I mean, as I love, my son is 7 right now, and I'd love for him to call me that much for like real reasons, but for 6 times in a day
when they're an adult,
right?
When they're 19, 20
figure
years
it the
old.
fuck out.
Yeah, go. You're 20 years old. You're a college football star. Go have sex with girls. What are you calling me for? Go. Stop.
What do you need to talk to your dad that much for?
So there's a guy here, Bill Hanners. Now, Bill Hanners is like a lifelong friend. He's his like best friend and wide receiver in high school, that sort of thing.
I can see that relationship picking up.
Yeah, they're like best buddies. Basically, Hanners says that Art started gambling in high school. They would go to the Scioto Downs racetrack.
Was it like an under-over on how much he's going to call his dad that day?
I think, later on they got to that. They're like, Art, they're betting on Art. So they go to the racetrack. Hanner's parents trained horses, and Art's, by the way, we're going to see here is his parents have a little dough, which I think helps him out too. His parents bought a half stake in a racehorse back then. My parents never had any stake in any fucking horses. So a racehorse named Phantom Brett. And so they go to the track, and they start throwing down bets, and this would continue, as we'll see,
on parlay on something to show.
Basically, Hanner said he's a lunatic the whole time. He said he never did drugs or alcohol. He was a thrill guy.
Yeah.
He's one of these guys who'd be jumping out of planes or bungee jumping or some crazy shit if he was like in the 90s.
Or putting his mortgage or his fucking car payment on a horse.
More than that, as we'll see. He needed to be on edge. He said Art would drive home Fridays after school like a lunatic, basically. He said, quote, he'd take a curve on a gravel road at 60 miles an hour when we should have been going 30. I'm not going to say he thought he was invincible, but there was always that edge. So that's the type of guy he's always... And it's
just
with
adrenaline.
Everything.
Yeah.
It's with everything and mainly gambling. His friends said he was treated differently in life. He said Art was put on this throne growing up and was backed up and reinforced by everyone. Mm-hmm. He had a great heart, but he knew he didn't have to play by the same rules as everyone else.
Was he an only child?
No.
He wasn't.
He was the oldest, though.
So he's the baby.
His brothers and sisters resented him for this thing because the parents...
I fucking would too.
Yes, Max ignored them because Max wanted to be a football star and never was, the father. Art he's living through Art.
Yeah, he's absolutely
living through Art.
Are we sure that he was calling his dad and his dad wasn't calling him?
Yeah, no shit, it probably was. Hey, Art. Hey, Art. Yeah.
Can I smell your finger?
You're dropping that
Art,
elbow,
can I
Art,
smell your finger?
Follow through. Yeah. Follow through, Art. You got to follow through on that pass, really. Stick it in there. So he says if he'd get stuck in traffic in Columbus, he'd just drive on the sidewalk or whatever. He was pulled over often, but rarely ticketed. He could talk his way out of almost any tight spot. He'd talk his way out of anything. He was very smooth and extremely smart.
Jesus.
So that's what we're dealing with. He gets to Ohio State. He goes there. 78 is his freshman year. He's called King Arthur when he arrives.
Oh, God. I didn't even think about that.
He's a local boy.
Yeah,
he's an Ohio guy. And now he's going to Ohio State.
He's King James. He's the original King James of Ohio.
Ohio needs something at this point.
They always need somebody.
Yeah.
When one falls, they get another.
Now, before we go on, I just want to... This is a public service to the listeners out there. Just in case something happens, your phone dies, you somehow stop this episode and you don't hear the rest of it, I just have to give you a word of advice. If you ever in your life encounter Art Schlichter, just never give him money. I'm just going to tell you that right up front before we get into the whole thing. Don't give him a dime. I would rather invest my money in a company run by CEO Ryan Leaf, President Eddie Johnson, and Chief Financial Officer Lenny Dykstra. It would be a better fucking investment than giving this guy a dime.
Yeah.
I wouldn't give this guy money for a payphone in 1975.
Unbelievable.
Nothing. So he gets to Ohio State. This is under Woody Hayes, legendary coach
that's
Woody
a big
Hayes.
deal.
Yeah, who he has.
He got to play for Woody.
He did for a year because he has a role in Woody's downfall. Inadvertently, it's pretty fucking funny. Actually, we're gonna get into that. A lot of people.
They still fucking stroke that old man.
Oh yeah, well
Holy shit.
He played for. I mean, Jesus, Woody Hayes was 27 years, 5 national championships.
Huge in Ohio.
He was huge.
Yeah.
So he's a 4-year starter at Ohio State. 78.
The Ohio State.
State University. And he's got good numbers. Back then, his completion percentage is like 52.3% career, which back then was actually okay.
Pretty average.
Good touchdown to pick ratio. His sophomore year, he was 4th in the Heisman voting.
Wow.
Junior year, 6th in the Heisman voting.
He had it going.
Yeah, senior year, 5th in the Heisman voting.
He's right there.
He's right
there. He's going to be in the NFL.
As a freshman, it's definite.
Yeah, it's happening.
He's King Arthur, goddammit. So as a freshman, this is what happens here. Freshman in the Gator Bowl, Woody Hayes is down with the ball here. He throws... it's against Clemson. He throws a late game pick with they're in the lead, Ohio State at this point. He throws a late game pick. It's intercepted by a linebacker named Charlie Bowman, who ends up on the Ohio State sideline, gets tackled over there. Woody Hayes hits the guy in the throat. Woody Hayes punches...
That's a baller-ass coach.
An old-ass man punches him in the fucking throat, okay? So this leads to a melee, obviously. There's a legendary coach is punching a linebacker at this point. So Woody Hayes ends up getting fired after 27 years and 5 national championships.
For that?
Like the next day after that. They were like, okay, can't do that shit.
Wow.
That's on national television.
Belichick could punch Harrison right in the throat.
But yeah, college though.
And
you can't punch some 18-year-old kid in the throat for making a nice play. Yeah,
that's assault.
It's assault. It's a little wacky too, just in the whole scheme of things. Now, sophomore year, they went to the Rose Bowl against Michigan, and this was for the national championship, and they lost 16-15. That's a heartbreaker. That's a heartbreaker, and it's so funny because his coach. In the national championship, you lose by 1 point. Yeek. That's rough, man.
That hurts.
And he's a smart kid. One of the scouts said, quote, nobody in collegiate football audibles at the line of scrimmage any better than Art Schlichter. That means he's a smart son of a bitch. He's doing all the Peyton Manning horse shit.
He's Omaha like a motherfucker.
He's reading defenses and figuring shit out. Now we encounter our first silver-haired, middle-aged white man of the fucking week here. And there's a lot of them in this story because this guy just keeps getting chance after chance after chance. I want you guys to count two things. Keep a tally, if you would, okay? One, fluff pieces that we go to. Because I've never seen a roller coaster of, he's back, he's good now, oh shit, now he's back, and oh, now he's okay, oh, now he's not. So count fluff pieces, count silver-haired middle-aged white men. Keep a tally, because there's going to be a few of them.
It's like a drinking game.
It is. Number one is Coach Bruce Earl. He comes in. He is seen at the track with Schlichter gambling on horses in his sophomore year. So, I mean, this is fine behavior. This is just a couple of guys going to the track. They're not looking at his gambling as a problem at this point.
It's just a bonding experience for him and Coach Earl.
It absolutely is. But at the same time, I don't know if it's unknowns to Coach Earl or what, he is out of control. His friend Tim Bobst, remember this name because he's going to come back later in a big way. He said Art would walk down the halls of Ohio State, down the dorm rooms at 2 a.m., just banging on every door, seeing if anyone wanted to bet on backgammon.
Jesus.
2 a.m. backgammon.
He's figuring out something to bet on.
Guys, there's 2 crickets. Let's see which one jumps first. That's the thing. I read this book called Mindhunter by John Douglas. He's the guy that started the FBI profiling program. Okay, he gets really into this, and he says before he was doing the profiling, he was doing Vice, and he was talking to a gambler that he arrested before the Super Bowl.
Right.
And the guy, he was saying, why don't you stop gambling? And the guy said, it's not about that. He said, you could lock us all up for 100 years. We're still going to gamble. And he said it was raining outside. They were in the back of the car, and there was 2 raindrops on the window. And he said, you could take away all the sports. You could take away everything. He says, you see that right
bet
there?
On the raindrops.
Yeah, he said, which one do you think's going to go down to the bottom first? That's all. He said, that's what it is. If you have that in you, you're going to see everything.
You lock us in a room, eventually we're going to get pancakes, and we're going to mark one side, and we'll flip that pancake.
And that's it.
See who wins.
And that's what Art has, man. And it keeps coming back.
That is an illness.
It's a serious illness. Bob said that in poker, he said that Art usually won, and that he always bet more than anyone else. He said if you put down $1.25, he'd throw down $5 or $6, and he'd try to bully you. That was his betting style. And Art says, in their own words, fire it up here. And there's a lot of quotes from him because this guy... He's a
talker,
He's a silver-tongued son of a bitch. Later on, he does radio talk shows. He's on Donahue.
How many kids does he have?
2 little girls.
All right.
Well, not little anymore, but 2 little girls.
He talked 2 broads into banging him.
Same woman, actually.
Same woman.
But he kept talking her into coming back, and this poor woman. Holy shit. We'll get into poor Mitzi, but woof. This is talking about his junior year at Ohio State, sophomore to junior year, 79-80. He says, quote, in their own words, quote, I was betting hundreds of dollars a night. I stopped working out as much. I had troubles in my relationships. Gambling became more important to me than football, schooling, or even relationships with girls.
Gambling is more important than pussy?
To a 20-year-old kid. And football.
That's a problem.
And major Ohio, major...
Something that's going to help me throughout the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Wow.
And now, junior year, 80, it starts getting real deep. He starts betting sports. This is his problem now.
There's a big deal.
This is not backgammon anymore.
No.
This is like you're getting deep. He said he would bet $4,000 to $5,000 in a weekend.
How old was he?
20. He's a junior.
How does he have that money?
He said he had some money from raising a steer or something. His family had a ranch from raising a steer or a horse or something. So he had some money that he would get if he raised them. They would sell it and then give him a chunk. So he had $15,000 in the bank, and I guess he was
just bankrolling it and bookieing it up.
But it was bad. By his winter junior year, he said he owed over $5,000 to a bookie friend of his.
I can imagine how that would happen.
And his parents had to bail him out. And Max was not happy. Max slapped him around. He said for the only time in his life, Max hit him and said, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" Good. Yeah, it didn't help.
He didn't hit him hard enough.
He didn't hit him hard enough. But apparently, a lot of people.
See, here's the thing. That's what bookies do. When you don't pay, is they bully you, they beat you around.
Yeah.
But they'll break something, and that's a reminder to, holy shit, I better pay this. Max, you should have broke a fucking leg.
The problem with this is maybe he got hit in the head too times. He says later on there's issues with...
You know what? I just realized it anyway. Max can't break anything on that kid. That's the fucking meal ticket.
It's his golden boy. Yeah. He wants to see this kid in the
play
NFL. He's like, stop, you're ruining my dream.
You can't blow out his fucking knee.
He's saying, stop, you're ruining my dream. Stop fucking up.
You're ruining my dream.
Yeah, you're doing this to me. You. Stop doing this to yourself.
Stop doing this to us.
Damn it. So, it's not good. His father gets him out of a jam here, but he's just in bad shape. I mean, the whole thing, 81 here, in August of 1981, he appears in court for his third traffic offense in less than a year. And this is a big one. It's a reckless driving. He was going 84 miles an hour
on
and
a gravel road on a 30.
Probably. That's the thing. He's a lunatic. The judge, there's this certain judge that he keeps getting that keeps suspending sentences and not doing anything. Now, that's
another silver-haired middle-aged white man.
There's another one.
Yeah.
This is number 2.
Yeah.
This one judge here. And this judge actually warrants an inquiry from a panel into why they kept letting this guy go.
Yeah.
Because another judge draws one and he says, no, I'm not going to suspend the sentence on your third violation in less than a year with a reckless driving. This is up to 60 days in jail, $500 fine.
This is already a pattern, sir.
Yeah,
you're
I'm
fucking
not
21.
letting you off. Yeah. So anyway, he ends up ends up getting a fine and all this shit. And he actually made Schlichter appear in court.
Good.
So summons, all that shit.
Hopefully that'll straighten him out.
Yeah, you would think, right?
Yeah.
Now, at this point in time, too, in 1981, there's a book that's released, and it's still available, barely. It's on rarebooklink.com.
Perfect.
A company called John K. King Used in Rare Books, and it's so rare because it's called, quote, Straight Arrow, the Art Schlichter story from Landfall Press in 1981.
There's the fluff piece.
You can get it for $25.
There's fluff piece
There's
number
fluff
1.
Piece 1. There hasn't been a downfall yet,
right.
so we'll whatever. But that's what everyone thinks of him right now, and they have no idea there's gambling under the surface and all this. College career comes to an end. 1982 draft. Here we go with one of the biggest draft busts ever. Okay, he is drafted number 4 by the Baltimore Colts at this point.
All right.
This helped set up the whole disaster of Baltimore moving to Indianapolis, the John Elway debacle next, because this is the year before.
Yeah, this is right before.
Elway.
Yeah.
So basically, they draft Schlichter to be their quarterback of the future, number 4.
Right.
Now, if he turns out to be a great guy, they don't even look at Elway next year. They don't even have the number 1 draft pick because they're not the worst team in the fucking league. So the Elway thing doesn't happen. That whole disaster doesn't occur.
Wow.
And anyway, they end up moving.
Elway doesn't threaten to go to the Yankees.
Exactly. They end up moving to Indianapolis in '84. Anyway, so he's drafted here. These idiots. Here are some other people they could have had instead of him. Okay. Number 5 was Jim McMahon.
Wow.
Right after
the
him by the
85
Bears.
championship, right.
The funky QB himself, Jim McMahon, as we all know from the 85 Bears. If you don't know Jim McMahon, look him up. He's a legend.
He's their quarterback. He's the only quarterback in Chicago that won a championship.
Absolutely. Grand total of 7 Pro Bowlers and 2 Hall of Famers taken in the first round.
Oh, my God. Who are the Hall of Famers?
Behind him, okay? We have Mike Munchak at number 8.
Yeah.
Houston guard forever, who's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
At number 9, Gerald Riggs, the Atlanta running back, who was a Pro Bowler. Number 10, Marcus Allen, the Hall of Fame running back. Number 16, Louis Sharp by the Cardinals, the tackle. He's a Pro Bowler, but we'll probably end up doing an episode on him later. He had some issues, so maybe that was a bad choice. But at least he was good for a few years.
He figured it out to be a big deal in that draft.
Yeah, he was good. He was a Pro Bowler at one point. Mike Quick, the receiver from Philly at number 20. He was a really good receiver in the 90s. And Roy Foster, a guard for Miami, number 24, Pro Bowler, offensive lineman, would have done better.
Yeah.
Also, they drafted in the 4th round, they drafted Mike Pagel as another quarterback, and he'll come up here because he's going to take Art's job.
So they needed a quarterback.
Bad.
And they drafted him before McMahon was drafted.
And he's supposed to be the...
He's supposed to be it.
He's supposed to be the guy.
And, you know, as somebody looking at stats, I can imagine, not stats, I guess size in that league. You're looking at a guy that's 6'3". McMahon's maybe, 6 foot? 5'10",
he's
5'11"?
6'2".
Is he that big?
Yeah.
I didn't think he was that big.
And he threw the ball all over the place at BYU. He set records. He was a beast in college. But they looked at Schlichter as like he's a pro-style quarterback, basically.
Stand in the pocket.
McMahon
could run, too.
And also, too, if you know the Colts at that time, they were real kind of hard ass. Like Frank Cush was the coach. He was a dick. He would have never wanted Jim McMahon in a million fucking years. Like Jim McMahon was a loudmouth. Schlichter was seen as like a real clean, straight arrow. 1981, landmark books or whatever. Landfall, whatever the fuck it was. Straight arrow Art Schlichter. That's who they want.
They clearly didn't know about his backgammon.
Rookie game. It comes up. Rookie year, he only plays in 3 games.
Wow.
17 of 37 passing for 45.9%, 197 yards.
On the season?
On the season. No touchdowns,
oh my God.
2 picks, because he lost his job to Mike Pagel.
All right.
Who the coach said within 5 minutes of training camp, they knew that Pagel was better than Schlichter. 5 minutes, he said it took.
Schlichter, 17 of 34?
17 of 37.
37. That's not even, that's 46%.
Yeah, 45 points. 9%.
Jesus.
So rookie year, not doing great in 82 on the field. Off the field, he's doing way worse.
Yeah.
He gets a $300,000, and this is coming from him. All the numbers we're going to say, like whether he stole this much or that much, they're all disputed.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you the numbers I saw the most often.
Okay.
And this is actually his number here on this one from his book, because, Jesus, I read everything. So he blew... 1982, he got a $300,000 signing bonus. I think it was a $400,000, but he said he ended up with about $300,000 in the bank.
Okay.
And he blew it in 7 weeks.
Whoa.
7 weeks in 1982 money.
Well, I guess that makes sense because he's going through probably $75,000, maybe $50,000 for agent fee.
Insane.
And then you throw some taxes out.
And that mixed with his salary. And
probably $289,000, $290,000, somewhere in there.
He spent about $300K, 7 weeks that last.
7
not even
fucking
2 months.
weeks.
Yeah. Started borrowing money from banks at this point. Wow. That's how deep he is.
Oh my God.
He's a rookie, for fuck's sake.
And he's playing 3 games on the season.
3 games. Now, in his rookie, he was playing a lot of games off the field, as we'll see here.
All right.
He starts out, he has 3 bookies in Baltimore when he gets there, okay? This is Sid, Sonny, and Sam.
Already.
Sid, Sonny, and Sam, right away.
Sounds like a fucking Three Stooges thing.
Absolutely. These are friends of Bill Hanners. Bill Hanners sets him up with these guys. His racetrack wide receiver buddy there. Art went by Fred. So they're going to refer to him as Fred here. First day of betting, he won $18,000 with these guys.
Wow.
So he gets to Baltimore, he's king of the fucking world,
Yeah.
right? He wins $18,000 right away. After now this is funny, like I said, he lost all that money to them, whatever. After his rookie year, he comes home one night, and he put $3,000 each on each game for 12 NBA games. $3,000
$36,000
in a night, okay?
Yeah.
So Sonny, the bookie, calls Fred Hanners and says, quote, or calls Bill Hanners and says, quote, Fred went off the deep end, he said. He lost his fucking mind. Sonny was worried that he wasn't going to be able to cover his losses, obviously. A smart businessman.
$36,000, that's a lot of money.
He's a bookie. You don't get in that business for being stupid, apparently. You know your shit. So he said, so Hanners tells Sonny to cut the bets in half, right?
Yeah.
Confronts Art about it. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? These are my guys. What are you doing? Art's pissed. He's like, how do you cut my bets in half? He's cocky.
Yeah.
Thinks
how
he's
do you
shit.
cut my bets? This is
in
my
half.
money that I'm laying down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you're
won't
going to get yourself fucking killed, and it's going to be on me.
That night, Art goes 11-1.
Wow.
Wins $136,000. I could have won, obviously.
Twice that. Right.
So 3 days later, he's in the hole for $48,000. This guy's $48,000 3 days later.
I'm on a hot streak.
So they want their money, and he doesn't have their money.
No.
This is in between. He's not getting a paycheck. His signing bonus is gone because you get your paycheck during the season. Off season, you don't get shit. So he's got no fucking money at this point. He, quote, Sonny, the bookie, told Hanners, quote, Fred won't throw too good if his right arm is broke.
Awesome.
So now he's in deep. Now he's an NFL quarterback who's got bookies threatening to break his right arm.
Somebody's making the right threats.
And the league would hate this also, if you can imagine, because they don't want, their
number 4
players
draft pick
being beholden to guys that make them throw interceptions when they don't want to or things like that, So basically, the next 3 weeks, Hanners meets Sonny at the Columbus airport. Sonny flies in, gets an envelope with $10,000, flies back to Baltimore.
Wow.
That's the story.
Yeah.
Each of 3 weeks, this goes on. 4th week, Hanners wasn't there, but there was the FBI waiting for Sonny because this shit got too hot for Art. And Art went to the NFL and went to the FBI and said, this is too deep for me.
Look what I've done. You guys need to clean this up. Yeah.
He got scared, and he went there. And so the NFL suspends him indefinitely.
Of course.
Get the fuck out of here. Fuck off, sir. You, sir, may fuck off. The FBI rounds up these bookies. They end up getting various sentences.
Whoa.
Up to 5 years in prison. They're not too happy,
Art
as
should
you
be
can imagine.
very scared.
Yes, Deacon Jones, as a matter of fact.
What?
Do we know who Deacon Jones is, everybody? I
That
hope.
sounds very familiar.
Deacon Jones is like the all-time. If they counted sacks in the 60s and 70s, he'd be the all-time sack leader.
Right.
He's a legend.
It's kind of a big deal.
One of the best quotes there ever is, too. He's the guy with the head slap. You know what I mean? He does. I invented the head slap.
All right.
He has this video where he goes, "If you slap a man upside his head or a woman, they're going to stop." And you're like, "Or a woman."
Wait a minute, Deacon. Slow down.
Talking about an offensive lineman, not your. What are you doing? He's a crazy bastard. He's huge. He's like.
Maybe it was just before his time, and he's just like, at some point there's going to be women in this league.
Yeah, he was being a feminist at that point. He's like 6'7", 280 pounds. He's a
just
monster.
smack him around.
He says this is in the Gainesville Sun from April 14th, 1983. Yeah. He says I'm sorry, 84. He says, quote, His life is in real danger. If I was a teammate of his, I'd hate to sit down next to him on the bench because a sniper might take a shot at him.
And might miss.
Yeah, exactly. Shoot, I'd hate to even fly in the same plane with him to a game. The mob may have put a bomb on the plane specifically for him.
He knows that it's that bad.
So this is Deacon Jones who's like, I wouldn't want that guy on my team. Damn.
I'll smack him up. I'll smack a woman in the head, but I ain't sitting next to that man.
Not him on the field. Hell no. So, he's suspended. This is an article from the Toledo Blade. His status is to be re-examined by Pete Rozelle here before the 1984 season, but he's suspended for 83. He's gone. He admits to gambling on horses and at least 10 NFL games during the 1982 season.
Wow.
At least 10 NFL games during the 82 season. So this is like...
He's betting on what he's playing.
He did not... Pete Rozelle was the commissioner of the NFL, the Roger Goodell of back then, said that he believed him when he said he didn't bet on Colts games.
Right.
Very self-serving belief.
Right.
Let's just say you didn't bet on Colts games.
Let's just believe him.
Let's just not say that
Let's all buy into what he's saying.
Team.
And he says he does not bet against the Colts.
So he's suspended for 83. He says, in their own words, on the suspension, on the length of his suspension, it was indefinite at that time. He says, quote, I think the NFL understands the drug problem a little better. I don't think they understand the compulsive gambling problem. I would say it's fair in the fact that I broke the rules, but it's unfair in the fact that I don't think they really understand it. I think fair
they understand it, sir.
That you understand you're not supposed to bet on NFL games and you're a quarterback, you dipshit. I think that's
they
understood.
Understand that you are not to be fucking laying money on games that you're playing.
Back then, these guys weren't... The NFL back then, you weren't allowed to gamble on anything. Like, you couldn't bet on...
It should be like that still.
A fucking card game with your friend, they'd be pissed off. Well, now they can cover their bullshit bets, probably. But back then, he was making $140,000 a year, which is a lot back then, but it's not $20 million. I mean,
but I feel like
you could lose that in a weekend with this guy's habits.
He could figure it out. He could figure out $20 million. I think he could get rid of that pretty easily.
He almost does in his life. That's the sad part.
I think he just makes the bet bigger just because he's got it.
Yeah, and Rozelle says of the suspension, the commissioner here, he says, quote, whether the gambling is prompted by uncontrollable impulse or not, Schlichter cannot be permitted to be active in the NFL until the league can be solidly assured that the serious violations of cardinal NFL rules he has committed will not be repeated. So they are saying, we are going to make sure he is on the up and up.
Gambling, no.
Gambling, no.
Play football.
So he is reinstated in 1984.
Oh,
reinstated
they figured it out
for the 84 season.
They are in...
Well, Pete Rozelle here in June of 84 thinks it's all under control. He says, quote, doctors believe that Art's condition is under control and that his chances of relapse are minimal. Everything's fine. Get on out there and
Rozelle,
take a snap,
you are
my friend.
number 3 of silver-haired white men then.
He is number 3. He's not really silver-haired. He's bald, but we'll still give it to him.
If he had it, he would be one.
and this is from a guy who says, in their own words, quote, you chase that first dollar forever and ever. You become a full-blown addict. And that's what he's doing right now.
Forever and ever, Rozelle.
So he had a 14-month suspension. It's the 21st of June he's reinstated. December 84 on the field, plays in 9 games, not great. 62 of 140, 44.3%.
He's hanging on to that 40-something percent.
Yeah, 702 yards, 3 touchdowns, 7 picks.
Yeesh.
On the field, not going great, but he's in the NFL.
Yeah,
which is good.
Is he starting? He can't be starting.
No, he's cleaning up, mopping up. Pagel's hurt now and then.
Yeah.
And this is, 84. This is when they moved to Indianapolis.
All right.
84. They're a disaster post John Elway.
Yeah.
They have that, it's not going great here. But it's going well. He's in the NFL anyway. He meets, December of 84, he meets Mitzi, who is his future wife.
Right.
She's a Ball State University journalism student. She had no idea who he was. Didn't know he was this Ball State's in Indiana, and she didn't know he was the Colts quarterback. She had no clue. Not really a good journalist.
Yeah.
Not good at journalistic instincts here.
You're
at this
at Ball
point.
State. You should be covering something.
So now it goes through 85. He's hanging out with Mitzi. He plays in 1 game in 85.
Wow.
1 game.
It really fell off.
12 of 25, 48%, 107 yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks, and he's shit-canned.
Wow.
They shit-canned him early in the season.
He's consistent.
He's consistently
shitty.
Yeah,
but he's consistent.
Very mediocre. He's gone. They bring in somebody. They bring in another kid where they said basically we'd rather bring in somebody with some hope.
Yeah,
he's not a hope.
Right.
Total career, he has 3 touchdowns, 11 picks for 1,006 yards. Not a great NFL career at all. Just a bust.
Yeah.
A complete bust. He's going to try to come back at
Those
some
are numbers
point.
that, like, a number 4 wideout in the depth chart has.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
That's it. I mean, he's waived. It's October 8th, 85. So that's right in the beginning of the season. It's the first game. Started game 1 against Pittsburgh, was injured. They brought in Mike Pagel, said goodbye. And Coach Rod Dowhauser at the time insisted that it had nothing to do with gambling. Right. So I don't have anything to do with gambling.
He fucking sucks at football.
He sucks, and I think it also has to. If he was a nice guy, I think they would have tried to bring him along, maybe. But
those are not starting quarterback numbers. Sorry, those are terrible.
Art's, in their own words, he just doesn't get it.
No.
Later on, he gets how to pretend like he gets it, but now he's still an asshole. He says, 85. This is about being waived in 85. In their own words, quote, "I don't think I had a fair chance. I have to deal with it and go on from there. It's not the toughest thing I ever went through." So he thinks he's going to come out of this. And
what is the toughest thing?
I don't know. Probably
going to the FBI? Yeah.
I would imagine that you were going to be killed.
Making a decision to call fucking the Untouchables?
Apparently.
Jesus.
So in spring of 86, he's signed by Buffalo. Things are looking up by the Bills. Problem is, the USFL folds at that point. Jim Kelly comes from Houston, from the USFL. They don't need another. They need one less quarterback. Goodbye.
We need a guy that's going to lose 4 Super Bowls. Goodbye.
Yeah, and it's so funny. You know what team Jim Kelly came from?
No.
The Houston Gamblers.
Is that right?
Houston Gamblers. Gambling every fucking time.
Gambling ruined his life again.
He's like, gambling! Damn you! So now we go to 1986. Still same thing. This is after he's shit canned out of there. There's an article in the Milwaukee Journal that says the Packers aren't interested in Art at all. I guess Art's agents have been calling the Packers, and they said they have quote no plans to return the calls.
Listen, we're not going to return your calls, and we're gonna tell you that we're not going to return your calls by putting out a fucking press release. And we want everybody to know that we want nothing to do with you,
not us, because there was rumors that they were going to sign him, so they put out a thing going. Not even close. We won't even return the calls.
I like it.
'Cause I think the agent was calling them and then calling the press going, hey, we're going to do that.
That's a fucking aggressive move.
That's an aggressive move. So we get to January of 87. His football career is over. He is now arrested for his part in betting in a gambling operation. He's just a bettor. This is, they staked out a bookie operation for a while.
Yeah.
He's their top client.
Wow.
So they bring him in too. He turns himself into Indianapolis police. At this point, he's released on his own recognizance. He's still an upstanding, decent citizen, The charge carries a maximum of 6 months in jail and $500 fine. It's unlawful gambling. Apparently 13 people were arrested. Most everyone else with heavier charges.
Yeah.
They just brought him in because he was famous.
Yeah.
Makes the bust be on the front page of the paper. Whatever.
Hey, Green Bay doesn't want anything to do with you, but we do.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
They have recordings of Art making bets amounting to, this is in a 70-day period, 70, so 2 months and 10 days, $232,225. That is $3,317 a day.
Wow.
Gambling. He would have been better off smoking crack while fucking 8 hookers at a time. He would have still come up out on top.
Yeah.
Even if he did that.
At least you're going to get something for it. Like at least get AIDS or something that reminds you about it.
No shit. I mean, he says about it, this is his quote in their own words, quote, "It'll work out. Everything will be fine. Wow. Sometimes this is the way it happens."
He's very cheery.
Yeah, I'm battling an insidious disease, gambling. You get behind the 8 ball and it's tough to get out, but I'll lick it. He's good. No sweat. No worries.
You're done with the career. You're out of the NFL. It's over.
I'll lick it.
I'll lick it.
So, with this, he gets 6 months probation for this affair, a $10 fine, and $74 in court fees. That was hard to find, by the way, that information.
That's steep.
That was, $10 just shelling out. So,
can I pay all that at once?
Let's see here. 1987, now we get to September 87. This is right before the 87 season.
What's he doing for money?
This we're going to get into.
Okay.
I know exactly what he made in 87, actually, too. We'll get into
Fantastic.
From a court document from the next year. The Cincinnati Bengals show interest in him. Hometown guy. Not hometown, but home state guy. But he has to apply for reinstatement in the league because after his last gambling bust in 87, they said, okay, we don't want you back no matter what.
Go away for a while.
Yeah, but this is like 6 months later. Commissioner Pete Rozelle again says, quote, "I think Art has made very strong progress in resolving his problem. However, I think more time would be necessary for him to really be on solid ground with his new program." No.
Not yet.
You can go the fuck away.
Give us some time.
So, not eligible to play. 1988 comes around. He files for bankruptcy. Filing for bankruptcy.
Wow.
Lists debts of $1 million and the previous 1987 year income of $3,800.
$3,800.
He was betting about that every day on the average.
So what the fuck was he doing?
I have no clue. I don't know. Who knows? He's deep in and out.
Yeah.
88, he signs with the Ottawa Rough Riders of the Canadian Football League.
Why do those Rough Riders keep coming up?
They'll sign anybody.
They will.
Robert Rozier, this guy. We don't
They'll
give
take
a shit.
everybody.
Bring them over the border, guys. If you can get your sorry ass over the border, we will take you.
If you're clean in the U.S. and can get through customs, come on
down,
through.
Sit at the Tim Hortons, pull up a chair. You're more than welcome up here, guys. So he signs with them. It's $100,000 a year. January of '89, he marries Mitzi. So things are looking up. I mean, he's playing football for the team they call the Rough Riders. It's not that great, but he was married. It's he's not in prison at this point, so he's good.
He's not dead.
Yeah, September of '89, he's hurt and he's released from the Rough Riders at this point. Released from Ottawa, moves back to Ohio. Right away, within 2 weeks, he's arrested for writing a bad check in Ohio. Just immediately. He's given a fine and a suspended sentence there. So this is just, it's building,
Everything is so lenient.
It's very lenient for him because these are misdemeanors, most of them. He hasn't gotten into his strong
it's all little
felonies, which
shit.
we'll get in later. And he's, he's a known public figure.
Yeah.
They're like, whatever, I don't understand why they're doing this anyway.
I mean, if we compare it to who... Damn it, I'm forgetting who did it. Was it Rozier that passed the bad check?
Yeah, all over the country. And ended up getting his life in prison.
I guess it was because there was a bunch of them. But
still, he was on probation for 6 murders and all that shit. So that's why he paroled for 6 murders. So they were like, third strike, assholes.
Boom, done deal, yeah.
These aren't felonies so far.
Gotcha.
So that was felonious too. Later on, he has so many felonies. Good God. Late '89, he spends 3 weeks in a charter hospital rehab center in Las Vegas. He should never go to Las Vegas.
That's a bad place. Who sentenced him to Vegas?
Shockingly, he gets out of the rehab center, calls Mitzi up, and tells her, "I love Las Vegas. We're moving to Las Vegas.
This place is amazing.
Let's
you have to see the lights."
Yeah, let's do it. He just had a young daughter. He said, "Pack up the little girl. Bring him out to the desert. Let's do it."
Cheap buffets.
Guess what he does right away?
Gambles.
Starts gambling again. Big fucking shocker. So things. '89 is rocky. 1990, he signs with an Arena League team, the Detroit Drive.
All right.
So he's getting back into football. He signs with the Arena League Detroit Drive. He wins the league MVP in 1990. He takes them to an Arena Bowl title. Wins the Arena League Super Bowl and he's the league MVP.
Where's this fluff piece?
There's 100 of them at this point. Back from the dead.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I mean, it's amazing. 91, he goes back to the Arena Bowl with Detroit, but they lose. Still has a great year. That's his real fine year. 92, they decide they don't want him anymore. They trade him to an expansion team, Cincinnati Rockers, who want him for the hometown tie-in.
Yeah.
Exactly. Has his best statistical season of any football season he's ever played in 92. But at the end of the year, also too, at this point, he starts hosting his own sports talk show.
Oh, no.
In WSAI in Cincinnati. He does a 3 to 6 drive time show.
So he's following everything still, keeping an eye on what scores where.
I mean, for him, he goes back there, he gets a little salary, keeps his name in, he's got a show, and this helps him promote the Rockers. This is an expansion team, so they need asses in the seats.
Cross-promotion and a motherfucker synergy or whatever they call it. But still, that gives him the opportunity to follow every sport and keep tabs on sports scores.
And he does that.
That's
and he talks
problem.
to them about, and he talks to callers about it.
Oh, no.
I mean, it comes up, you know what I mean? And they know that he's a gambler.
Yeah.
So this is all from a big fluff piece in a Cincinnati magazine, 1992, in Cincinnati magazine. At the time, I guess that radio station had like no listeners, so they were trying to get some juice going.
Yeah.
He appears on the Phil Donahue show at this point in 92, talking about, gambling and his NFL past.
That's a silver-haired middle-aged white man.
That's as silver-haired and middle-aged as you get, Jimmy. That's what I was just going to say. Good Lord. He's got the silverest hair of
anybody ever.
If you're too young for Phil Donahue, look him up.
Google the shit out of that man and watch some
his
shit.
Hair is silver.
Yeah.
And at this point, too, it was a very huggy, touchy feel. I mean, he'd have, like, people being combative, but he was, like, saying how, hey, this could happen to anybody. And he was he was really good on the show. Everybody said, fucking guy's a master talker, got everybody on his side. He was great.
Awful.
Yeah, absolutely. He quits the Rockers in 92.
Yeah.
We think because, I think they kind of knew to quit, because he gets arrested for passing at 2 bad checks in Ohio 2 weeks before the end of the season. One of them is for a $500 convenience store check. What is he buying in a convenience store for $500?
What are you filling up RVs?
For $500. I don't know what he's doing.
Are you filling up the truckers? You're like, hey, I got it. I'll take care of you.
Whatever they have in there in 1980, 1982.
They don't have $500 worth of stock. No way.
Lottery tickets? Maybe he was buying scratchers.
That's a good point.
Scratchers,
I could see that.
That's
Were
possible.
scratchers around in that time?
I hope so. Otherwise, I have no fucking idea what he was buying.
That's
I need
insane.
all of your jerky. I'm gonna put a down payment on future jerky. Let me come in for the next 2 months, just grab a handful of jerky.
I'm gonna get
leave,
your back stock next week.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Never plays pro ball again. This is it for him. He's done with pro ball at this point. The Rockers were his last chance. 93, 94, he floats around. 94, he moves back to Las Vegas because he's offered a sports radio talk show because he's good at that in Vegas. So they all move back to Vegas, the whole family, and this is great. They had him from 3 to 6, and then Pete Rose from 6 to 8 on the station.
Oh, that's so awesome.
So it was clear what they were doing, and they'd talk all about...
We're aiming at the scumbags.
And they're talking about parlays and this and that, and you bet that... I mean, it was unabashed, we know about gambling block, basically. His friend Ron here, Ron, who I love, he's an upstanding citizen because he doesn't want his last name used. I'm pretty sure Ron isn't his first name, really.
That man's in the witness protection program.
I'll tell you some shit, but don't tell anyone who you got it from, basically. He said that of Art's time in Vegas, he said he'd bet on anything with a ball. This is the best degenerate gambler quote I've ever heard, or a quote about a degenerate gambler. He says, quote, he just couldn't win. He had the worst beats of any guy I'd ever seen. It was like God wouldn't allow him to win.
That's awesome.
He's the worst gambler ever.
That's terrific.
And at this point, what you want to do is bring more kids into the situation.
Hell yeah.
94, a second daughter's born, so that's going to go well,
Obviously, he can't win with gambling.
No, he can't.
50% chance you get her pregnant or not, and it comes up pregnant.
Days of the week, not so smart with those. Days of the month. 1994 continues. He steals $16,500 from his sister-in-law, his wife's sister. Takes checks from her, writes them out. Mitzi freaks out about this, obviously, because the FBI shows up in November at their door looking for her sister because the checks were from a closed account. So they think the sister was pulling bank frauds, basically.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's Art doing, it's all forgery and shit. So they show up. They're looking for that. It's a huge mess. Art ends up getting arrested. Mitzi, at this point, goes back to Ohio. Art follows her, gets a job as a contractor briefly. On October 8th, 1994, this is November 8th, 1994. He writes an $1,150 bad check to a grocery store in Ohio. It bounces.
He really just overboard spends,
It's fucking insane.
$1,100 at the grocery store?
What is he doing? What are you buying
what
for
the
$1,100?
fuck are you...
How many carts does that take?
Hey, I'm here. I got bad checks. I just need to spend. I'll take all of aisle 8.
If my cart is full, that's like $200, $220.
Can I have the meat department?
Full. Yeah, what is he buying? I can't imagine.
$1,100 worth of shit is going to spoil.
You're not eating that. Was he buying it for another football team? Was he starting his own football team? I'm going to feed him, then bet on him, and they're going to win. I don't know what he was doing here, but so at this point, after the FBI and everything, now Mitzi moves to Indiana with the kids. She's going back home to Indiana. She's like, fuck this. I don't want any part of this anymore. Art's in deep shit. He's charged with bank fraud in November of 1994 in Las Vegas. He's ordered held without bond.
Good.
So he's shit out of luck.
Hang on to him for a while. Keep those checks fucking secure.
Yeah, no shit. Well, that was the thing, too. When he was playing for the Rockers, they were giving him a little stipend, and they were giving the checks to his wife, and he would get $300 a month or something.
Yeah, there are comics that do that that are not allowed to get their check. They can have a little bit of cash because they have gambling problems.
And they knew it, and that's exactly what it was with him.
Their check goes back home or to their agent or wherever it goes.
And she said, he said he'd have to he checked in with his wife 6 times a day. If he went to the store, he would be like, I'm still at the store, don't worry, I didn't run off and start gambling. I mean, that's how bad it was. And imagine this poor lady living like this. Oh, God, he's been gone for 12 minutes. It's only 10 minutes. Oh, Jesus Christ, he's probably gambling again. I mean, it's fucking insane.
His bookie's 15 minutes away. It's been gone for 22. We got a problem.
So he agrees to a plea bargain in Vegas, and this isn't.
You got to keep like 4 miles worth of gas in your car for that to keep him from to like keep a leash on it.
Yeah, that's basically keep that. Oh my God, have a little remote that kills the fuel injector.
Yeah.
Shut him down. He agrees to a plea bargain of 18 to 24 months in federal jail. The sentencing to be done January 27th, 95, and this is in November, and he's held until sentencing.
Wow.
So, turns out, not only was the 16.5 from the sister-in-law, he also stole $500,000 of other money, at least $500,000 from everyone he encountered.
Wow.
He would take money.
Now it makes sense how he survived.
Yeah, he would scam money from people at the radio stations. Callers would call in asking him advice. He would call them back after the show
and ask for cash
and talk to them about gambling and be like, "Hey, I got a little venture here." And this is when he started his ticket scheme.
Oh, wow.
This is his scheme that he does repeatedly later on. He says that he can get cheap tickets to big events, Super Bowls, big football games, Final Fours, and he needs cash up front, and he's going to buy all these tickets, and he gets them below cost, and then he can sell them at a huge profit, and you'll get all your money back.
What a fucking dick.
Like I said, don't invest with Art Schlichter, okay? So he's doing this. It's insane. He said that in this article in 94, this is not a fluff piece.
No.
He says that advertisers would talk advertisers into paying him
instead of the radio station. Yeah, I'll get it to him.
And another time he had some station, he like did a check scam with them where he was like, I got like 10 grand in checks, but I can't cash them for a week, but I need 5 grand. Will you write me a check for 5 grand? You can hold these checks as collateral.
And they're bad checks.
And they would bounce.
Unbelievable.
And this one, some poor small company that just started advertising with the radio station, these people had to like take out second mortgages on their home to not go out of business.
Wow.
From giving him $5,000, because that was the difference between them surviving or not at that point.
Unbelievable.
So he's a complete piece of shit that has a casino was taken for 12 grand in bad checks. A casino was taken for that much money.
Casinos know better than that.
And they said the manager at Bally's said he was so good. He said we went through all of our normal precautions.
It was Bally's? Like legit casinos.
Yeah, he wasn't
this
going
wasn't like the fucking
Klondike
Dune down the street.
6 miles off the strip. This was this wasn't the El Cortez. He was at a good casino, and they said we went through all of our normal precautions. He's that good.
Wow.
He fucking completely scammed us. And
he's the catch me if you can guy with gambling.
That's how good he is.
Wow.
That's how fucking good he is, except he gets caught way more than Leonardo DiCaprio ever did. So he gets an 18 to 24 month sentence in this.
18 to 24, so you're looking at almost 2 years.
Yeah. Basically bounced 175 grand in checks as part of this, in addition to the bank fraud and
175 grand
in checks, plus the theft, plus bank fraud,
plus 500 grand, plus the 16,000. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of fucking money.
Yeah, and then also
it's all gone.
He's got other shit for charges for another $50,000 in bad checks that he floated all around in Indiana and Ohio.
What the fuck?
So they're trying to get it so he can serve the time all at the same time, basically,
concurrently or whatever it's called. Yeah.
So 94 is why now. This is at this point his wife divorces him, so she's done at this point.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Smart move.
An article in November of 94.
You're never going to have a 401k, Mitzi.
No,
ever.
It's done.
You're so fucked. You're going to work a long time.
She couldn't have a fucking 401 cents in the bank. Never mind any other thing. She couldn't have anything. He would be like $4.
Yeah.
I can gamble. I can turn that into $9 before you know it. Who's playing tonight? He's a fucking lunatic. This
Put
guy.
$1 on each and parlay it, and we'll make $16 tonight.
Oh, his father Max has an annoying quote about this now in this article. His father Max is still pissed that he's not in the NFL.
Yeah, Max is still fed up that his dream's over too.
He says repeatedly, my boy should still be in the NFL. My boy should be in the NFL right now. This is in 94 he's saying this. Because he's like, John Elway's still in the NFL. Yeah. This one's still in the NFL.
John still he's going to win 2 championships in 5 years.
In the NFL. He's literally saying that. Father says, quote, they let drug addicts have chance after chance after chance, but the NFL wouldn't give Art another chance. He never reapplied after Pete Rozelle embarrassed him. He was afraid they would embarrass him again. This guy, embarrassment isn't his biggest concern, first of all. He embarrasses himself on a daily basis. He's writing bad checks to fucking convenience stores.
Fantastic.
Embarrassment isn't his concern, I don't think. I would reapply, but I'm embarrassed, so... Oh my goodness!
He's just overboard with the sympathy, trying to get anybody's. But he's still got an ego about him too.
Oh, it's huge.
It's ridiculous. But He's just a scumbag.
I mean, that was his dad, but you know that's what's pumping into him.
Right.
And here's his quote at sentencing in January of 95. He says, and this is as full of shit as you get, quote, in their own words, quote, "I'm terribly sorry for what I've done. I'm ashamed. I hope I can someday prove I can be an honest person and get my life in order." In other words, please don't sentence me to more than I already agreed to.
But he's still delusional about anything at all.
Yeah. In April of 95, he reaches a plea agreement in Indiana for check charges and theft charges and fraud charges. That's going to be served at the same time. So that's going here. In 1994, he says that at this point before this he had pawned his wife's wedding ring, wedding ring.
Holy shit!
Yeah, this is how bad it is. In this 94 article, this is a great in their own words. Quote, "I was probably at the worst part of my addiction. I stole money from my wife's purse. I was desperate at that point. I'd walk into a supermarket and write a bad check, or I'd tell a friend to hold a check and it would be good in a couple of days, and it never was. I justified it to myself by saying I'd pay it all back. I never used the money for fancy cars or anything like that. It all went to gambling."
We knew you were justifying it, that you were paying it all back, because that's what a fucking gambler does.
But he's still, at this point, he's trying to go, I see the error of my ways. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good now.
Yeah.
I'm good now, Eddie Johnson. It's the same fucking thing.
Still back to the same thing.
Somehow we get to 96, August of 96, he's released from federal prison. Okay, this is August 29th. He's released then. He's on house arrest. Okay, this is for like 3 weeks he's on house arrest in 96. On August 29th, he's arrested again.
That was fast.
Yeah, he's again arrested for some shit he did before, which is he pleads innocent to 2 counts of felony forgery the next month. He borrowed $8,500 from a woman, gave her 2 $25,000 checks as collateral that he stole from his employer.
Jesus Christ.
Employer was Alexander Earthwork and Utilities in Westville, Indiana. He steals $50,000 worth of checks, gives it to her. They're worthless for $8,500 in a real check that will actually fucking cash.
That's going to make some money.
Yeah. So he's going there. So he's put away there. Early August 96, he's released from federal prison in Terre Haute, Indiana, which is he was serving for that whole mess.
Terre Haute's a bad place.
That's when he gets arrested for that whole deal. 97 for this deal, he is sentenced to 4 years in an Indiana prison for stealing over $800,000 in various ways from a ton of different people.
More. 800,000 more. This guy, you're talking about over $2 million now.
His tentacles are into everything.
He is really just a fucking scum. He is taking everything he can from everyone he can.
While in prison, he's given 4 years in Indiana prison. While in prison, he's charged with 4 counts of illegal gambling after placing bets using a prison phone that they fucking monitor. You dumb shit, asshole. He won't repeat that, as we'll see later. He smartens up about what phones he uses and gets someone else in trouble because he just takes everyone down with him. He's like a drain that's just swirling. And if you get caught up in that current,
shit toilet.
You were going down the fucking drain with this guy.
Jesus.
Somehow in September of 99, he's released from prison. Somehow he gets out 2 years early, does half his time. Yeah. He's fucking up in prison after this is the 30th time he's been arrested, but let's let him out early.
Yeah.
September 99, they let him out early, okay?
So goddamn lenient.
It's amazing. So things are going, everything seems to be okay. Seems to be.
No.
But until 6 U.S. Marshals arrest him on May 18th, 2000, while he's using a payphone in an Ohio restaurant. Bust into the foyer, he's on the payphone, and they haul him out. Judge orders him sent back to Indiana, where he has to face money laundering charges. Okay, because listen to what this fucking asshole did.
He figures you're going to get caught if you try to switch $50,000 worth of checks for an $8,500 check. So the best thing to do is just filter it through something, and then it comes out clean on the other end. They can't catch me.
This is wild, Jimmie. So remember Tim Bobst? Remember old Timmy Bob from?
Get a fucking job, Schlichter, you fucking prick.
He doesn't get a job at all ever. Well, he has one once in a while, but then he's just writing bad checks. So
he gets a job long enough to get into the payroll department, and then just fucking tries to clean them out.
Or he'll just be like, well, I have a job now. I get paid $8 an hour. I'm going to live like I make $600,000 a year. I'll just write checks for thousands of dollars to grocery stores.
I'll catch up to it later.
So Tim Bobst here from college, the guy who said he would knock on the doors with the backgammon there. He encounters Bobst again. Bobst's wife works at a massage parlor therapy. It's a massage therapy place. Art used to go in.
Move on.
We'll move on. Art would go in and buy packages for Mitzi, who he's now kind of back together with, trying to make the family work again.
Because they got kids for fuck's sake.
They have 2 kids, and and she always says he loves the kids. We'll get into that later too.
He's great with the kids. He brings them unbelievable things.
Unbelievable. How'd you get that, Daddy?
How'd you get him a $30,000 horse?
It's coming up.
I traded $200,000 checks for this horse. It's a great deal.
Stallions, it's no big deal. So Bops, this guy, after college, he was in the 82nd Airborne. You know, he's a special forces guy. Broke his back jumping out of a plane, so he's disabled. Walks with a cane. Lives on disability from the government. I mean, you know, but I mean, he's an airborne, 82nd Airborne.
He's a hero.
Guy. Yeah. So Schlichter, of course, needs to completely wipe him out. Obviously,
of course.
Clearly, he starts out doing right by the guy. Gets him 4 seats he's a big Cowboys fan, this Bobst guy. Gets him 4 seats on the 50-yard line to a Cowboys-Colts game at face value.
Wow.
Which is a big deal for a Cowboys game there, because they're a popular team across the country.
Yeah, you can't get face value tickets now.
No, not on the 50-yard line. So he gets in these seats, so Bobst is like, hey, well, what the hell?
What a guy.
Bob said, quote, he talked all the time about his aftercare program and how he was going to all these meetings. So he's like, he's on the level. He gets me the seats I asked for. All he talks about is meetings.
Right.
This is going fucking great.
This guy's got some things working out.
Yeah, January 2000, Art calls Bobst and tells him that he can get him Final Four tickets. And Bobst is a big college fan. He's like,
why wouldn't he think he can do it? He just sat at the 50-yard line.
Yeah, he's like, fucking of course. Yeah. He said there's the booklets, the tickets come in 3 ticket books, basically.
Right.
And the books are $300 a book, $100 a ticket.
Right.
So Bobst buys 9 of these books for $2,700. And Art tells him, I need the cash first because my guy's running low on supply.
Yeah.
You'll get the tickets later when the NCAA releases
We're running low on ink.
Yeah, so we got to, whatever. So he said, they're all being, sold out. Right. So I need the cash now. So they meet at a Burger King to exchange the money. That's never a good sign.
No.
They meet at a Burger King to exchange money. Tickets were supposed to arrive in 2 weeks. Surprise, no tickets. 2 weeks come. Art says NCAA hadn't dropped them yet. So he's saying, like, they haven't released the tickets yet. They're still printing them or whatever. 3 weeks later, he calls Art again. Same thing. Haven't dropped yet. Sorry, man. I'll get back to you. 2 weeks after that, so now we're 7 weeks in.
Yeah.
No tickets yet. Bobst calls him and says, I want my fucking money back. He had to track him down 4 different phones to find him.
Wow.
I want my fucking money back. And Schlichter said, hey, I came through on the Cowboy game, didn't I?
Right.
I know what I'm doing. Don't worry.
This is going to come through. Don't worry.
Just relax. Yeah. Trust me, okay? So 2 weeks before the Final Four, Bobst says, fuck this, I'm calling the prosecutor's office.
Good for him.
He calls Marion County prosecutor. They don't have Google back then, so you can't just go Art Schlichter. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Later on, I feel less bad for people because it's like, you have Google.
Right.
Just Google this
you
fucking
can search
guy.
anything.
Holy shit, trust me. You'll find endless shit.
We Googled.
Look at my pile of shit. Trust me.
My daughter had a photo shoot. We Googled the guy that was going to do the photo shoot. The man was a fucking predator. He was a level 2 sex offender in America.
Go.
Bang!
Google.
You'll know
responsible
that
parent.
Right.
Yes, you wouldn't get your money taken by Art Schlichter because you just pop a quick Google search on him. So So anyway, Schlichter apparently ran the same scam on over a dozen people. Scam totaled $537,200 from these people.
So much money.
Yeah, Bobst goes to Art's apartment to try to find him and finds Art's brother John's cleaning out all his shit going, Art's gone. Art's on the fucking run.
Yeah.
Art takes off. He goes to Ohio. And Bobst ended up watching the Final Four on TV, obviously, because he didn't have that.
Poor guy.
Bobst is on the run at this, or I'm sorry, Art's on the run at this point.
Yep.
Now we also get to Chuck Grubbs, who's another fella here. Chuck Grubbs is Bill Hanner's cousin. He grew up in Ohio worshiping Art.
Oh, no.
He was 2 years younger. He just worshipped him like a god, basically. He said Art actually helped him pay his family's rent when things were tight, when Art was like in college and the pros early.
With the Airborne's money.
So he said that, with poor Bobsty's money over here. So he said, he really respected him. He feels bad, he said, because he used to go to the track with Art all the time. So he always felt like he didn't help Art. So Art's out on probation at this point, still, from all that. A couple days after the Kentucky Derby, this is the scummiest thing he's ever done, by the way, until later. A couple days after the Kentucky Derby, Grubbs gets a call from Art. And Art asked to stop by. So Grubbs is like, this is going to be for money. I know it. But he's like, you know what? I'll just tell him I don't have any, or I'll give him a little bit, and whatever.
I'll make him a turkey sandwich and send him on his way.
I respect him. So Grubbs tells him, come on over, whatever. So Grubbs, he tells him he wants money because he's Art Schlichter, and he always fucking wants money. That's why he thinks he's there. So basically, Grubbs told him he could come by. Art comes by. Before he gets there, this Grubbs guy, he hides his money and his credit cards sort of under the seat of his
Brilliant.
truck, under his truck seat in his car, puts the keys in his pillowcase. So he's going to sleep on his keys so Art can't get his keys, get his fucking money out of his truck. That's how well he knows this guy, okay? He goes to sleep. Schlichter scavenges through the whole home until he finds his extra key somewhere that this guy forgot he fucking had because it was probably 6 years ago. He put it somewhere. He finds that, finds the billfold under the seat. This guy would have worked great for like a crime scene.
Yeah.
He's amazing. So,
I feel like he parked his car, walked past the truck and goes, do I smell money?
I smell money.
I smell money in that truck.
Doesn't take the cash though, because that'd be too obvious.
Really?
What he does instead is he picks out 2 credit cards, goes back in the house, calls the credit card companies, has all the limits raised.
Wow.
Has all the fucking
While
limits
dude's sleeping.
raised. While dude is sleeping. Okay? Now, Grubbs gets up, goes to work, gets home. Art's there. He gives Art $100. And Art says, I got to take off now. Gives Art $100, sends him on his way. He's like, I braved the hurricane.
Yeah.
Everything looks like everything that's not nailed down looks like it's still here. Everything's fine. Turns out that night, Art drove up Interstate 75, hitting every fucking ATM he could hit along the way, burying this guy, cleaning him out.
Wow.
Yeah. A few days later, this is when he's arrested.
That is fucked up.
That's fucked up. And then he's arrested in Ravenna, Ohio, at another restaurant, at a diner. And that's
having dinner on Grubbs.
Yeah, that's where he got arrested. That's when he was running from Bops. This all happened. So this was there.
Unbelievable. What a scummy fucking thing to do to your friend.
It's so bad that worshipped you. You know? And this poor Grubbs guy, he says he's forgiven Art. He loves Art through this whole thing. He goes, he says, quote, he's the type of person that would help anybody, but then he would screw anybody to get money to gamble with. It's not like Art Schlichter woke up one day and said, I want to gamble and ruin my life and ruin my family's life. He just couldn't stop.
No, he woke everybody up at 2 a.m. and said, I want to gamble. That's what he did.
Amazing.
Everybody wake up. It's time for backgammon.
Now, while this is going on, while this is happening, now he got out of jail in September of '99. He was put in a rehab, in an addiction counseling facility there, and he had to go to these meetings. In these meetings, he met an ex-physician named Sally Booth. She's an MD who had her license suspended for a substance abuse problem. Okay,
so this is a good person for him to be involved with.
Perfect. Yeah. This is Bonnie and Clyde. These two,
match made in heaven.
So they started hooking up romantically. Which is healthy in that regard for them.
Yep.
Art told her that guess what he could get? Large amounts of tickets.
A shitload of them.
To sporting events. Sell them at same bullshit he told Bops. This is the beginning of this scam that he runs on Bops later, okay?
All right.
First of all, that might have been a good idea in 99, 2000, because nowadays there's plenty of secondhand, second sight.
There's lots of... Was it Ticket Hub or whatever?
Yeah, StubHub.
StubHub.
All these. So, I mean, she might have had a good idea if he actually made a business instead of just gambled it away and shit. So, whatever. So she basically says, he needs cash up front to do this. Okay. So Booth went through every dime she has, this poor woman here, took out advances on all her credit cards, second mortgage on her home, borrowed money from her parents, her friends, her 84-year-old parents, her friends, everybody. By April 2000, when he was arrested for everything else, when everything came to a head, she was out $100,000. Her parents were out $45,000.
Wow.
And that's probably a lot to 84-year-old people.
That's
they
what they're
going to go
out
and remake
that.
That's
15 years
gone.
That's the rest of their life money.
Yeah,
that's it.
They could be eating cat food for decades on that shit. So, also, now she said that she kept doing this because Art had been providing her with clean urine samples for her drug tests and threatened to tell the authorities if she didn't keep giving him cash.
Wow.
He said,
so
if
he's
I'm going down,
her.
you're going down too.
Absolutely.
And she wants to get her life back together, which she's not doing a good job of trying.
Not at all.
But she'd eventually like her license.
Well, she kind of is doing a good job at it. She's masking the fuck out of her idiocy.
So she insists on being repaid. She's my parents need this fucking money.
Yeah.
We're dying, all of us. So he says, okay, my father's going to help us. My father's going to help you. He's going to help me pay you back.
Right.
I'm really sorry. Acts like this is the only person he's doing this with. So she receives a call a couple days later from a man claiming to be Max Schlichter, his father. He said, I'll take care of you. I'll repay you. Don't worry about it, right? So Schlichter, a couple days later, shows up with 2 checks from his father's bank account. Checks number 1568, 1569. One is for $20,000, dated the 24th of, it's post-dated like a few days, 24th of April, 2000. Yeah. Another check for $60,000, dated the 1st of May, so a week later.
Give him plenty of ample time to fucking run.
So they looked at these and they went, let's just give this Max guy a call and make sure. They call Max Schlichter. He said he didn't write the checks. He never called her. Doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. But Art had stolen some checks of his recently on his last visit home. So she goes, wonderful. We're fucked.
We now know what happened.
She's a shit out of luck.
That's the 1982?
This is 90. This is 2000.
That's 2000. There was Google then.
This is Google.
Right.
You should know better.
But
you should fucking know better.
But that was her version of Google. She figured it out one way or another.
So,
she did something. Good for her.
So now there's an attorney, Linda Wagner. Okay. This is an attorney that's now starts representing him in spring of 2000, represents him to September of 2000. Right. This woman is his newest victim now. This is his public defender.
What?
Okay. Now
he swindled the fucking public defender.
It's amazing. So this article about this, by the way, says that he's had I love this line, he's had as many lawyers as bookies over the years, which I think is fucking brilliant and describes this guy perfectly. That's fantastic. And I'm stealing that for our description at some point. So Linda Wagner here, she's a federal public defender. Federal. She's not even like a state asshole. She's federal.
She's not some bullshit county.
No, she's not making 27 grand a year.
Shit.
She's doing okay.
She's the feds.
So he called her hundreds of times while she represented him. If he couldn't get through, he would have someone else call, and then he would get on the line. So I mean,
what the fuck?
Fucking relentless, this guy. What he kept asking her for hundreds and hundreds of times was he wanted her to give him a cell phone and sneak a cell phone into the prison so he could, quote, keep in contact with his daughters. That was his scam. Yeah. She said he was relentless. It was every day. It was every day.
Now we know why he called his dad all the time.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So she refused. She said, quote, I've never even given a client a pen before. She said, she's been on the up and up. Apparently, Art had his friend purchase a phone and drop it off at her office. Like, here's that phone.
Here's that phone I was talking about. Bring that to me. Yeah.
So after a couple weeks, she does it. Of constant harassment.
Bitch.
She fucking does it, you dumb shit asshole. Sneaks it into the Indianapolis prison. He uses it to make bets like crazy, obviously. What kind of a fucking bookie takes action from a known degenerate gambler who's in prison
for fucking having no money and writing checks about
Where's he going to get money if he loses? Shit. What's he going to? What are they making? 8 cents a day down in the kitchen? What is he fucking doing?
He's going to print some fucking license plates.
That's a shitty bookie, number one. So anyway, she sneaks it in. A little later on, it's found in a jail sweep of contraband. So no big deal. Whatever. Art has another phone delivered to her. Hounds her, hundreds of calls, bothers her. She finally, on a Saturday morning, decides to bring it into her. She sits down in the room where they're supposed to meet, lawyers meet their clients. She's about to slip him the phone, and a bunch of sheriff's deputies surround her. Fucking cuff her up.
Yeah.
Take her off.
She's to the Huskow you go.
Misdemeanor charge of trafficking to an inmate, which sounds bad for a federal public defender. She calls her her office to her boss and says, "Oh my God, I'm arrested."
Hey, can you give me a lawyer?
I am in deep shit here. I need one of those federal public defenders that we've been talking about so much. She loses her law license for 90 days.
Oh my God.
She's on a year of probation.
Fuck you, Art Schlichter.
He's just relentless. So she says about the whole situation, quote, I literally became almost paralyzed. I couldn't go out in public, couldn't talk to anybody. It was awful. She said she knew better than to trust him. She said, quote, I can't explain what I did any more than the rest of his victims can.
No shit.
He's good.
He just does it.
He
makes you do what he wants.
He's amazing. That's what I mean. When you talk, a lot of these people are smart.
Yeah.
They're smart. That's a lawyer, a doctor.
Yeah.
In a year, he's conned a lawyer, a doctor, a special forces guy. Yeah. It's fucking insane.
The fucking top smart people.
It's
the people
insane.
that matter to this country. And he can fucking put them under his thumb.
It's wild, man. And it gets worse. So this is when Larry Burdor, the deputy prosecutor for Marion County, says he's the best con man I've ever seen at this case. So there's an article right after this in May 27, 2000 in the Chicago Tribune called, quote, Schlichter's kids, the saddest victims of his addiction.
That's the truth.
That's the truth.
That is the truth. I feel terrible for those girls.
Bad for these kids. Apparently, in April, before he went on the run, he took his kids out of school to talk to them and explain to them that, Daddy's in trouble again, and I got to go on the run.
Daddy's going to Forrest Gump the fuck out of this country right now because...
And even Mitzi's enabling, because Mitzi says,
that's
his wife
a good point.
Here, quote, says... says, quote, "He's an interesting person because he commits crimes that hurt people financially, but he adores his kids. I could never doubt how much Art loved the kids. But that wasn't enough to stop him from repeating the same pattern."
What do you want to bet?
Close.
What do you want to bet? What do you want to bet he bet on the fucking sex of those kids?
Probably.
I guarantee it.
I
guarantee it.
He was probably laying them all over town, for Christ's sake. He was probably like, shit, I broke even.
He had a pool on how long the kid would be.
He had one of those boards from the Super Bowl.
What time it's going to be born, all that shit.
Length of the middle finger, blue eyes. What are the odds on blue eyes? So in August of 2000, he's finally indicted for the big ticket scheme that he's taken all these people's money. They were holding him on probation violations and everything else. Because, I mean, this guy at this point, he gets in trouble. They can just lock him up and throw away the key.
Throw it away. It's done.
Figure the shit out later. So in April 5th, 2001, he's sentenced to 5 years in federal prison for credit card fraud and money laundering. That's about this whole thing. He's ordered to pay $170,000 in restitution, which he stole more than that, way more than that, but that's all they're asking him to pay
That
back.
ain't enough.
No. And then in August of 2001, he is sentenced to 6.5 more years in Indiana for violating his old probation
on
for
top
97.
of those 5.
They're going to let him do it at the same time again. Which he's like, if I fuck up, I'm going to do it all at once. And then I'll commit 100 crimes. I'll serve 3 years. I'll
throw
be
them all
gone.
together. I'm going to do 3 on good behavior, and I'm out the door.
He doesn't do one at a time. This guy, he stacks them. He's a very, very smart guy. At this point, 2002, September 3rd, things get a little worse. His dad, Max, is found dead at the bottom of the pool in the backyard.
Something tells me he jumped in.
Suicide. Determined to be suicide. Absolutely.
Of course, yeah.
Suicide. He's 65 years old.
He just feels so... he let down America.
Yeah, he did. I think that's part of it.
Absolutely.
I really do.
He definitely let down the Colts.
I'm telling you, man. In 2004, while in prison, he's caught gambling on college basketball.
Wow.
Again.
Wow.
He does 4 months in solitary. He's just a fucking disaster.
He can't stop.
Stop gambling. He's like Ryan Leaf with the pills, but it's gambling.
It's
right?
way worse because it's
the cocaine.
It's those are victimless crimes. The person suffering is the person ingesting that shit.
Yeah.
This guy is everything he does has a horrible victim.
You don't want to be near this guy.
No.
He's like the Grim Reaper. Like he just touches people and they just financially.
And it's 20 grand.
Financially, they just drop dead on the
20
floor.
grand a touch.
20 if you're lucky. If you get off easy. So I mean, he's released from prison in 2006. In June 16th, 2006. In January 2007, there's another fluff piece, guys. Let's fluff him up again.
Unbelievable.
What the hell here? Spends 4 months after he gets out, after he's released, in a Baltimore treatment center, which he should have stayed there forever. Says his goal is to set up this is how fluffy this article is. It's all about the future and how he's just, he can help other people and set it right. He says, they let him say that his goal is to set up a non-profit foundation to talk to young people. I'm going to give him money to be non-profit. To talk to young people about gambling and educate them through www.gamblingpreventionawareness.org, which is not currently anything at this moment in time because I fucking looked it up. It's dick. Basically, that period that passed between 95 and 06, he spent a total of 10 years in 44 different jails and prisons.
Wow.
That's what a disastrous decade he had.
44, though. Shouldn't
44.
that means he's arrested at least 44 times?
Well, I guess that's transfers probably. You're here, you're there, they transfer
44
you.
in 10 years. Just keep him.
Just
fucking keep him.
Hang on. But they think, God, Jimmie, they think he's fine now.
No.
He's good now.
He's not fine.
An Outside the Lines ESPN interview in 2007, he talks about all he stole and how, God, he feels horrible about it, and now he's just trying to help people. And he estimates he stole over $1.5 million over the years, which, as we know from the numbers I just told you,
that's so low.
Is so fucking low. It's more like $5 million.
It was $2 million in the 80s.
This is just the shit he's charged
with.
Imagine
That's just what he got caught for.
He got away with stealing. People just didn't have the wherewithal to call the prosecutor. Because I wouldn't have known to call a county prosecutor. I'd be like, that guy took me. Shit, what do I do
That guy took me for 20 grand.
Yeah,
that's my life.
What do I do? So he starts doing commercials in 2008 with his mom for a no on issue 3, a like I guess to open casinos in Ohio. They're saying don't open casinos in Ohio. The commercials are great. Look them up on YouTube.
Wow.
Art Schlichter, gambling commercial. You could look it up on there. It's amazing.
Vote no because my life will really be shit.
And they're
you're gonna give me money if you vote yes.
And she's like, and the mother's like, it destroyed our family. It could destroy yours too. And it's like, woof, man, he's the best example for that. I guess.
No doubt.
2008. I mean, we are fully fluffed up, Jimmy. At 2008, he is hired by a Columbus radio station, 6:10 a.m. WTVN. To cover OSU football, Ohio State football, because he's a legend there. Program director said there was little opposition from anyone to bring him on. No one, they were all like, he knows what he's talking about. Yeah. He's a legend here. Let's bring him on. No problem. He had radio experience in Vegas and in Cincinnati.
I don't give a fuck.
Bring him right on, right? 2009, he releases his own fluff piece called Busted, The Rise and Fall of Art Schlichter. Writes his own fluff piece in 2009. Busted, The Rise and Fall of Art Schlichter. It's 256 pages. Get it on Amazon for $20.68 hardcover, $9.99 on the old Kindle. If you want to give him a few fucking bucks. I don't think you will here coming up
Give him
soon.
Some gambling cash.
So he's hired in, this is the worst, in October 6th of 2009 in another fluff piece that I found. He's hired as offensive coordinator for Tell City High School. So now he's good. Let's bring him around kids now.
Now he's a coordinator.
For kids. Coach of this high school, Tell City, Don Hitz, said, quote, he was on parole here, and I asked him, can you come on with us? I gave him an opportunity, and the school board was gracious enough to let him coach with us. He has done an outstanding job. The kids love him. He doesn't drink or smoke. The only thing he ever did was gamble. Silver-haired white man, number fucking 5 or 4.
Yep.
So Don Hitz. So there's another one.
What an asshole.
They all, I mean, he said, and about it too, in this fluff piece, in their own words, Art Schlichter himself says, quote, I always try to teach the players to be a good man. I have related my experiences, both good and bad. I try to help them learn from my mistakes. They have a great tradition here, and this is a good place to be. We hope to bring the program back.
Jesus Christ.
Fluffy, 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 fluffy. I'm telling you.
And to bring the program back, they can give me about $30,000, and I'll go get all the equipment.
Yeah.
And another $50,000, and I'll get the grass redone.
No problem.
What the fuck?
I take care of shit. Now, here we go. In 2009, he's goes to these meetings and things like that, and like church groups.
Yeah.
He's trying to be like good
oh
in the community.
No.
He meets an old acquaintance.
Yep.
Named Anita Barney.
Yep.
And 30 years earlier, when he was at Ohio State, her son had been in a plane crash.
Yeah.
And he came and visited the kid at the hospital. So she remembered him and thought he was a good
she
guy.
Owes him something.
Thought he was a good guy. And she said, oh, yeah, whatever. And her husband, who was now dead at this point, she's a widow, was the CEO of Wendy's, the fast food corporation.
Wow.
So
they've got dough.
They've got dough.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get a guy put his hooks into this list. He's 74 years old.
Oh, Jesus.
Lonely widow.
Oh, Jesus.
Who's got money. He's 50 at this point and scumming it up big time. So this is a bad meeting here.
He visited her kid. She feels indebted to him for the emotions.
Yeah.
Oh, God, this is going to end terribly.
Then we get to September 28, 2010. Yep. We have another fluff piece.
Oh, my God.
There's millions of them. I'm just going one fluff piece per time period.
Yeah.
Because there's a million fluff pieces for every time period. This article is called, quote, Beating the Odds. Former Buckeye Art Schlichter working to put his life back together. It's on a fluff piece about what a great dad he is and how he's been making up the past to everyone.
Yeah.
And the passing away of his father affected him so much, even though he was illegally gambling and doing a bunch of other shit after that. He's just a swell guy, this article says. In the article, this is his excuse here. This is because it's really fluffy, this article. So in their own words, quote, gambling was my way of killing the pain. It distracted me from reality. And the more pain you're in, the more you want to see, or the more you want to use. I can't judge what's going to happen tomorrow or the day after that. I'm just trying to get through today and do the right thing and take care of myself and my family.
There it is. You know what it is? That last sentence, minus do the right thing.
And
I'm just caring about me and my family. That take care of myself and my family.
I didn't cross off family.
Yeah,
I just put, I'm trying to take care of myself.
That's it. That's all he needed to say.
That it's like distracted me from reality. What was your reality? That you were a famous, great, beloved person with all the money in the world
when
and
you
all
started,
the world at your feet?
Yeah.
Is that your reality?
Your backgammon gambling? That's not...
You're a jerk-off.
You were doing fine at that time. So, you were God in Ohio.
He's a fucking mess.
Oh no.
So everything looks great, though. We're leading up to all of this looking so good until Valentine's Day, February 14, 2011, when out of nowhere he turns himself in to Ohio authorities. Because he allegedly took money. He was selling his book rights to multiple people.
What?
For the busted book he was selling.
What a fucking lowlife.
He sold the rights to dozens of people.
Just everybody.
For $8,000, $9,000, $7,000 for like a piece of the book, basically. So he's selling that all over, not paying anybody a thing. He's also gets busted for running another multi-million-dollar ticket scam, which we will get into here soon, because he gets his hooks into old Anita Bryan.
Oh, God damn it.
Anita Barney here. It is ridiculous. Basically... Also, too, at this point, he's on house arrest. In 2012, he's testing positive for cocaine twice. So now he's doing cocaine,
Oh, now he's got a big problem.
He's doing cocaine and also for refusing to give urine samples at several different times.
Yeah.
So they're violating his probation here, which is going to come back also. What he had been doing was, basically, he started hanging out with Anita Barney, okay? First... they were just friends and whatever, and he asked her if he could borrow $10,000 because he needed a car to go visit his daughters. Because he didn't live with his daughters, and he needed to be able
with
to
those
visit them.
kids.
And you feel bad for him, and she seems like he's a reformed guy. Yeah. You just open up the paper, there's fucking fluff pieces everywhere.
They're everywhere.
They're the most complicit of these fluff piece article writing assholes. Every time you write a fluff piece,
you're telling the public that he's nice.
You're saying, no problem. All reformed. I'm good now. It's fine. Go ahead and lend him 10 grand.
Telling the public this guy's on the up and up.
Exactly. So she claims shortly after that she was writing checks for 25 grand, then 100 grand.
Oh, God.
Reverse mortgage on her home.
Oh, my God, no.
For $185,000 to give to Art. Still.
No.
He's telling her, tickets. I got the ticket thing going. We need investment. This is all seed money, okay? It's fucking ridiculous, basically.
As soon as you get to reverse mortgage, that's the fucking end.
That's it, man.
You have no more left.
And this is a woman who had money, and she's draining him. He's draining her. When she had no more money, he started telling her, well, why don't you go ask your friends and family for money?
Oh, my God.
She culled together 300 grand.
Oh, he's a piece of shit.
From her friends and family.
He's got, he's so good. He turns this little old lady into him.
Yeah, and she's a smart woman, too. She used her loneliness against her because later on also she ends up saying that they had a little romantic involvement, which, he has no fucking shame at this point.
He's fucking
grandma,
70. Yeah.
Who cares? I need that money. So, she said she was excited to be making her friends and family money. She thought they were going to get money off of this and make profits. And she never dreamed he was lying, is what she said. Said Art told her that when she wanted the money and started needing money to pay back, Art told her that the mafia could end up coming after them, and that he couldn't tell her where the money was going. He said, quote, if I told you, I'd have to kill you. So, he's bullshitting her like that. This poor fucking woman.
And she's supposed to just go, okay, all right, I'll tell everybody else that.
So he ends up he's busted for this too. Now, there's also lawsuits filed against her for,
of course,
huge amounts of money. But there's 6 different lawsuits against this woman saying
that poor lady.
And there's people saying, no, you were in on it.
No,
you were fucking
that
in
poor
on it.
lady.
She didn't need to be in on it because she had money.
Right.
That's the thing. Now, it might have been later on she might have been in on trying to recover, but he was probably saying, look, I lost that, but if you get me this, I'll fix it.
Right. He initially got her in all on the up and up, and then once she realizes what's going on, probably after if I tell you where the money's at, they'll kill us.
Absolutely. In April of 2004, she files for bankruptcy.
Oh, my God.
Listing a $2.3 million claim against Art for fraud, embezzlement, theft, and to be restitution. She said, quote, Art Schlichter conned me out of millions of dollars. I lost my home, my car. I had to file bankruptcy. I also lost my friends and family.
Of course.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane.
They don't want to talk to you when you took their money, too.
For the cheap ticket shit here. He's at this point, he pleads guilty. In 2011, he pleads guilty. This is before they pleaded guilty to for the 2011 things. He's pleading guilty to wire fraud, federal wire fraud, bank fraud, filing false income tax returns.
Wow.
So he's even more fucked now.
That's as big as it gets.
Yeah. So Barney later on goes on Dr. Phil.
Wow.
And this was recently. Goes on Dr. Phil. She wrote a book, of course, called, quote, Quarterback Sneak. I hate these fucking cheeky titles.
Stupid puns.
Quarterback sneak, exposing the criminal game plan of Art Schlichter. 2 fucking words. Oh, God, I don't like you anymore. I felt bad for her before. Now I don't anymore. Kiss my ass.
Your fucking pun book.
So, yeah, Dr. Phil pulled it out of her about the romantic relationships. I guess that was in the book. And he was saying, well, all these people think you were in on it, basically. So he was trying to play devil's advocate on the whole thing. I hate him, too. Of course.
He's as much of an asshole as Art is. In my opinion, fuck him.
Now, April 2012.
Because he's for a second. That guy, okay, he's a fucking scumbag. He just exploited the shit out of that woman for financial gain, too.
Oh,
he's just as bad as Art is.
Absolutely.
Move forward.
Yeah, he's Art with a mustache at this point. That's all he is. Because Art's bald and fat, too, now. So that's perfect. In 2012...
Doctor my ass.
Doctor... What is he a doctor of?
Nothing.
I'd like to know what he's a doctor of.
Fucking Pepper. Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper.
That's what he's a doctor of.
I'm calling him Mr. Pibb from now on. Mr. Pibb is on. I don't like him. So Art signs...
that fat bald bastard.
Art signs paperwork for his brain and spinal cord to be donated to Boston University for the CTE project.
Right.
For the traumatic brain
fucking
injury
burn it.
project. Said he had 14 to 15 concussions in high school and college. He was talking about in the 70s and early 80s, you'd get knocked out cold.
Yeah.
Blackout, go
Wake
to the
up.
sidelines.
Yeah.
5 minutes later, you said you felt better. They'd stick you back in the game. Wow. And that's how it was back then.
It's probably true.
It's absolutely true. All the guys say it.
I mean, for him, too.
For him,
yeah.
He said, you go back in, that shows that you're tough. They'd say, you got your bell rung, go back in there. And that was what they call it, getting your bell rung.
High school and college, that makes sense because he played enough. NFL, if he was claiming it was the NFL, he can go fuck himself.
Well, we'll get to that.
All right.
We'll get to that. So now he is, in May 2nd, 2012, he is sentenced to 127 months in prison. That is almost 11 years.
Yeah.
That is 10 years, 7 months.
Yep.
This was for both the current crime and then violating his 2007 forgery and theft conviction probation from Indiana.
And what year was this?
This is 2012. So they add
so he's 51 years old?
Yeah. So they add an extra 27 months for the Indiana thing. It was 100 months for the new one.
Yep.
It was 27 months for the Indiana one, so 127 months in total. He's ordered to pay back $2.2 million in restitution.
There we go. Now we got him.
This shit is getting deep at this point. I mean, U.S. District Judge Michael Watson told him that he was the perfect candidate to receive maximum consecutive sentences.
Yes.
Then detailed for several minutes all of Art's past crimes, convictions, general fuckery, basically.
Yeah.
So
he could have just fucking played this podcast for the courtroom.
This is besides this judge, this is like the most complete you're ever going to hear of an Art Schlichter life, because everything else is pieced together because it's 30 years.
Yeah.
This is like the most complete thing. Then he called him shameful and predatory, which I love. You, sir, may fuck off. Verdict, fuck off. To you, sir. Shameful and predatory.
I love it.
I love that he came up with that. He's like, shameful and, no, I need a predatory. That sounds like he's aggressive.
He sounds like a lion.
Then made Art turn around when it was Art's turn to speak. Made him turn around to address his victims and his mother.
Yes, don't you say whatever you have to say to me.
Or the jury.
Turn your fat ass around.
Turn it around, fat boy. To your mom who's sitting there.
Yeah.
Fuck, I imagine what his mom's been through. Because, sure, the mom was probably giving him money when
they should have left an empty seat with his dad's picture on the fucking chair.
Max.
Tell fucking Max, you dick.
So now he's fucked. He's in federal prison. Yeah. How many millions of dollars? How many families ruined? How many businesses destroyed?
Anybody that's ever talked to him.
He has just his little girls, his wife, his kids. He has ruined more lives than anything. I feel so bad for all these people, Jimmy, but not nearly.
You have to be shitting me.
Oh my God, this
How
poor
the
bastard.
Fuck?
Not nearly as bad as I feel for Art Schlichter. On LinkedIn, project manager at AAA Northern California, Nevada, Utah, based out of Phoenix, Arizona.
What?
Went to Hofstra University, has an extensive background in planning, developing, and implementing systems. This Art Schlichter, guys, this is not the one, guys.
No.
So if you're in Phoenix and a guy named Art Schlichter, who never played football, comes up to you, he might be okay.
Yeah, he's probably good.
Cut this guy some slack, because when people Google him, they go, "Oh God," and they're about the same age too.
And he's project manager. He's calling to get people to invest money in shit.
Half of his phone conversations are probably, Art Schlichter.
Not that one.
No. I never played. Hello? Fuck. Damn it. Start calling myself something different. So poor Art Schlichter.
Is this King Arthur?
No. I've never played a thing. I've never gambled. I don't know.
I played chess. Do you gamble on it? Fuck off!
How would I know the over-under? I don't know these things. Stop asking me. Stop it.
Poor guy.
And now we get to January 2016. Art is still in prison. He sues the NFL for medical and retirement benefits tied to the season he was suspended.
Fuck you.
He's now diagnosed with Parkinson's disease and a bunch of other neurological ailments that he claims is from playing in the NFL.
No.
Sounds like it's from playing
I don't
everything.
Yeah.
The NFL is just the one you sue.
Dude, you played in the fucking Arena League much longer than the NFL.
Later on, too. I mean, he played way more downs in the Arena League. He claims that even though but the way he's trying to do it is actually smart. The league gives benefits based on seasons played, and they judge that by appearing in 3 games or more. So if you played in 4 seasons, you get this amount of benefits. If you played in 5 seasons, you get this amount of benefits, and so on and so forth. He's trying to claim that extra season of 1983 when he was suspended as a season that he should get benefits for, because he's saying, yes, I was suspended, but I was still under contract, therefore was not allowed to go play anywhere else.
Couldn't go make money somewhere else.
Couldn't go make money somewhere else. I was still under the rules of the NFL, so you have to fucking pay me. You have to give me benefits for that, because you wouldn't let me pay. I wasn't the one who sat down.
He's got a case.
He's got a case.
He's got an argument.
At this point, NFL, fuck you, NFL. Give this piece of shit money for his Parkinson's disease so his goddamn kids...
He's just going to spend it in the cantina anyway.
Jesus, give it to, at least... Maybe
give it to the children,
If his kids get $5 out of this, it's
good
more
for
than
them.
he ever gave them.
It's worth it.
Fuck something. He says about the head injuries, quote, this is from March of 2016, very recently. He says, quote, I do believe that my numerous head injuries have affected my decision-making throughout my life, but I don't want people to get the wrong idea. I'm not blaming my behavior on anything. I take full responsibility for my actions, and I'm sorry for all of those I hurt along the way.
I don't believe you.
Wow. I'm not looking to make it an excuse, but I think maybe it affected my decision-making.
Here's an excuse.
But here's an excuse. So from the time he was in 10th grade, he had neurological issues, apparently, that affected his decision-making. From the second he walked onto a horse track, for Christ's sake.
The thing is, like... You can't blame the decision making. He's not, I guess. I mean, he's still, but it didn't fucking attribute to anything because you've been playing football all your goddamn life and been gambling all your life.
Yeah, you're a disaster.
Yeah,
you have head injuries and you're a piece of shit.
And you know what?
The gambler, both.
The fucking schemes were so planned out.
Oh, dude,
that's not head injury shit. Somebody that's got head injuries, it's not doing that.
Yeah, he didn't just like snap and like attack a guy in a bar.
Right.
This is scams and schemes that he had with so many people.
Unbelievable.
I mean, there was the one case in the mid-90s, there was 50 victims involved.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how many people he's scamming.
You're just a fucking scumbag, bro. That's it. That's the end of it.
Currently incarcerated in the Terre Haute,
Indiana. That's a federal prison.
Federal Correctional Institution. Projected release date of August of 2020. So
oh my God, he can get out and scam people again.
Oh yeah, no, we got about 4 years left, and you're going to be dealing with Art Schlichter. Poor Art Schlichter in Phoenix, the AAA project manager. You poor son of a bitch. You better kill him.
Yeah.
He should find someone to kill him.
2020, he's getting out. He's 60 years old.
It's true. No, out of all the mobsters he's pissed off, all the people he stole the money from, all of that thing, I would think Art Schlichter, AAA project manager in Phoenix, Arizona.
He should be able to figure it out. Yeah.
He should be the guy that's most angry at him. He's like, you're ruining my fucking life.
60's nothing.
He's 60.
You can absolutely start scamming.
And I guarantee there's going to be a fluff piece when he gets out.
Yep.
Fluff piece
more
number.
than the 7 that we've discussed.
7 different periods of fluff, guys.
And 5 fucking silver-haired middle-aged white men.
5 unbelievable. These are records, guys. This is a record-setting episode.
This is unbelievable.
You can bet on number 8 on the fluff pieces, and it's going to be all about him. And
I'll fucking write an open letter to everybody about what a piece of shit he is.
Someone needs to.
And I've never met him.
No. I wish you could have a thing where if you wanted to give him money, this podcast would automatically pop into your phone first, where you go, oh, maybe not.
Maybe I'll spend it somewhere that's worth a fuck.
Yeah.
Because he's not giving anybody anything.
Or a whorehouse. Or... anywhere else with this.
Fucking the lotto. Anything is better than giving it to that
scratchers, alcohol.
At least some of those proceeds go to fixing roads and shit
in town. Give it to ISIS, for fuck's sake.
Absolutely.
At least he'll get lost in the mix. This guy's just going to gamble it away.
Hopefully the feds will pick that up somewhere along the way.
Yeah, everyone will get picked up. It's fine. Don't give money to ISIS. No. I don't think you're even allowed to say that on a podcast. So don't do that. or Art Schlichter.
We just take
two things.
Jesus.
Two people you should never give money to: any ISIS member or Art Schlichter.
That's
Anybody else, you're on your own.
Art Schlichter may as well be ISIS.
And Lenny Dykstra.
Yeah.
I want to see a business with him and Lenny Dykstra together.
It's gonna happen.
You know what? At least he didn't like fucking go crazy and buy Wayne Gretzky's house, or whatever the equivalent of Wayne Gretzky is in Ohio. He didn't buy Bernie Kosar's house.
He didn't go buy
Mickey Wood's house.
Go buy the ranch that Munson's plane went down in.
You didn't buy, Jesus Christ, man. You didn't buy fucking Brad Doherty's house. Like Mark Price's house. I don't know what the equivalent. You don't win much, Ohio. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, guys.
What Super Bowls, basketball, nothing. Cleveland, the Browns, everybody, the Indians. It's bad.
I'm a huge Broncos fan.
Buying
Cleveland,
Omar
so
Vizquel's house.
I still remember the drive and the fumble. So fuck you guys. Sorry,
Jim Tomei's house. Leave Kevin Mack out of this, please. Kevin Mack's house can go.
Ernest
sit by
Biner's house.
Ernest Biner, Kevin Mack. Kevin Mack was the next year.
Really?
Yeah, he fumbled the next year, I think.
No.
In the next championship game, which was 2 years in a row. When Cleveland was up, he fumbled.
Sorry,
anyway,
Cleveland.
That was when he fumbled when they were down, and then Mack fumbled when they were up. Either way, you fuck Cleveland. God damn it, you guys are a disaster.
Yeah, God does hate you guys.
It's true.
Yeah.
I root for you to win at some point.
Sometimes.
Unless you have any interest in Art Schlichter as a human being. Then I don't root for them.
Then I hate you.
Holy shit, guys. Like we said, that was as deep as it goes, guys.
That was fun.
I mean, holy fuck, that was something else. Art Schlichter.
He's a scum weasel, man. He
disaster.
took everybody for everything, and all he got in return is a prison sentence.
A lot of prison sentences. A lot. Imagine the court fees he's accrued over the years.
Yeah.
It's got to be insane.
He could be like, I would trust him for like Yelp reviews of prisons. He's been to so many.
Man, he really
I would trust him. If I was going in, I'd want to talk to, can I talk to Art Schlichter real quick to find out which one is okay?
Cod is stiff but tender. I find it caresses my curves just the way I like. Like things, pillows, not quite.
Not so good.
Yeah, bed bugs. You don't want to be here. I find the brunch to be below par. So Art Schlichter's having brunch in federal prison. Oh, my goodness. So, guys, next week we're going to have another scumbag.
I can't wait.
It's going to be fun again. Another scumbag. Please join us on social media. Look us up. Jimmie, we're going to give them your social media for the shows.
At Whisman Sucks, WHISMAN, on Twitter and Instagram. And I'll figure out fucking Snapchat. That shit is a pain in the ass.
It is. I hate it now.
It's stupid.
I'm
so
done,
stupid.
Done. I'm at Jimmie P is funny. You can find me on Facebook under my name. And please follow the show's social media. At Crime and Sports on Twitter.
Please do.
crimeandsports@gmail.com. Email us, facebook.com/crime and sports. Look us up. We put up really funny shit about
We're idiot comedians, and we love doing this, and this is a blast.
We're gonna also be posting like the video of the vote no on the proposition thing. Of
the YouTube commercial.
Yeah, we'll post that up for you guys because that's a trip. And join us, follow us, have fun with us. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Remember to review on iTunes. If you're still listening, that means you love the fucking show. Yeah. So you should just right now review us.
And we see numbers.
Stars.
We know the people are listening, so fucking review
we watch them go up. Please help us out. Yeah, review. It's so huge. Did you hear all that shit? I killed 3 pens for this. Write me a review. Help us out. But thank you guys.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus